Alright, so today is 31st of July 2015, Friday, the last day of the week and the last day of the month. Let's begin with Euro Dollar. I saw today during the midday, Euro Dollar spiked up, and so I was thinking what could be driving this move. So there were two news to look at. One was the Eurozone CPI, Consumer Price Index, stayed the same at 0.2%, and the unemployment rate stayed the same at around 11%. And for dollar, there was another news. So going back to the Eurozone, inflation and unemployment hold steady in July. One more about unemployment goes nowhere in June. But for dollar, looks like there was some wages data that came out today, and it was not very good. Hence, dollar went down. Another similar news: US wage growth at slowest pace since 1962. Treasuries rally on weak wage growth. So it looks like on a weak wage growth, currency falls down and treasury, which is the bond market, goes up. So I think so those were the two news that affected this movement, which is one is the euro unemployment and inflation, which is good for euro, and then on the other hand, dollar bad news with the wage growth, so which means it would lead to up movement in euro dollar. But if you take a look at this now, that movement didn't really push up the euro much above even the 50 EMA. So what does this tell us? It tells us the market sentiment, which is when there is good news and if the currency doesn't move up much, it means it's bearish. The market sentiment is bearish. So let's take with the euro for example. So euro had today good news, so it should move up, but it didn't move up much today. So which means there is bullish news, but the market did bearish, but the market was bearish. So the market sentiment is bearish. So on the other hand, dollar had bad news. So dollar should depreciate against euro. So there was bearish news for US dollar, but dollar didn't really plunge or something like that. So the market sentiment for US dollar is still bullish. Alright, and in the weekly chart, it's still downtrend. It's around the 5 EMA. So now let's take a look at pound dollar. Pound dollar has been in this range for last many days. Both pound dollar and US dollar are strong, so I think they will stay there for a while. The weekly has been in this range for last 3 weeks, not much change there. Dollar yen hasn't been moving much as well. So this is a ceiling, so we will have to wait and watch if this takes out this ceiling. In the weekly, it's like in a comatose or in phase 2 in some way. And dollar Canadian moved up today, so this is mainly because of the Canadian weakness. There was one news for Canadian, I think. Canadian GDP came out at minus 0.2%, which is less than the forecast and less than the previous month. So this is bad news for Canadian dollar, and hence today Canadian dollar weakened against dollar, and I saw the same thing against euro and pound as well, which we will come in a little while. But I feel slightly concerned about this top because it has been going up for a long time now. So I fear correction in the very near future, but I could be wrong. Aussie dollar hasn't been moving much. There's not much news coming out from Aussie land and the US dollar. So if you look at this example, for example, so that US news of negative or bad wage growth, so it led to dollar being depreciated against Aussie, but that news didn't have a holding grip, or the grip was not strong, so hence it came back again. Same thing with Kiwi dollar. It spiked up today midday London time, but it came down again. So looks like dollar in general is still bullish. Right, euro yen has been in this range for a while, and even in weekly as well, it's in the 50 EMA region. So this is the region where it tends to stagnate for a while. Pound yen has been stagnating, same to dollar yen. We have to see if this takes out the previous high. Very similar in the weekly as well, dollar yen and pound yen. I noticed something today, which is when pound yen began this uptrend around the 14th of April, it seems to be around the same time when euro yen began to appreciate as well. So look at this date, 14th of April. So this sometimes the region between the 200 and 50 EMA is sometimes called no man's land, meaning do not have any trades around this region. But if you look at pound yen, the timing from around the end of April to mid-May, or the first 2 weeks of May, if you look at this, it's really good time. Like the risk is very less around this time to be long. It's outside the 50 and 200 and even outside 20 and 5. So there's very less risk for a bullish trades. Alright, going on to Euro Canadian. So as we saw today, Canadian depreciated against dollar and euro and pound. But bear in mind that this could be just trying to test this high again, and it could go down again. I've seen this happening many times, but on the other hand, in the weekly, it seems to have formed an uptrend, so it could go up now. So if you look in the weekly, the 5 is above 20, and the 50 would be going up above 50 as well, above 200, sorry. So this could be the beginning of an uptrend. So it's tricky region. Pound Canadian, same thing, it went up today. I was thinking this may be the top, but it has not. So do not underestimate how long a trend could last. We just spoke last few days that this is a doji and be careful of this, but it seems to ignore many technicals. So we just can't sometimes rely on technicals or on fundamentals. So we have to look at what is the fundamental, what is the technical, and what is the market sentiment. 3 things. Euro Aussie, nothing much, so I think it could be doing some correction there since it peaked last few days. Pound Aussie is a very good boy. It's staying there in a steady uptrend, no sign of correction. Nikkei and other indices, I think because it's the last day of the week, I didn't see much movement, but let's take a quick look. S&P 500, again not much movement, weekly in an uptrend. FTSE in an uptrend as well, but not much movement. Trend in the weekly. US dollar 2, it fell down slightly, so this may be an accurate reflection of the wage growth impact on US dollar. It fell down today. Well, I saw it fell down again, so this was a minor correction, and again it's falling down, so it could test this $42 reached in mid-March. Same thing with Brent. Brent and crude, obviously they will move together. And lastly, gold has been stagnating, I think, around the 1100 mark. I saw it has fallen down to 1088, I think yesterday, but it went up again. Alright, I think those are the important ones from the news. On Monday, what's coming out? There's British pound manufacturing PMI, so this could have some impact on the pound. If this comes out good, pound dollar could appreciate, pound yen, pound Canadian, and pound Aussie. And the dollar PMI is coming out as well. And Tuesday, alright, so we'll take a look at this on Monday again. There was one other interesting news about the Russian ruble has been falling down, and there was some rate cut today. Russia rate cut puts pressure on ruble. It lowers rate to 11%. I think they cut by 50 basis points. Yeah, 50 basis points. So Russian economy is facing some trouble now, or what they say, headwind. The headwind, it means it's trying to go up, but there's wind blowing down on its head and it can't go up. Opposite is tailwind, so there's wind blowing from below, so the currency or whatever the market or the instrument is going up. Alright, I think let's wind up for today, and we'll come back on Monday.